My name is Florence Pugh, and the day I got my first management promotion, my mom texted she was too sick to come. An hour later, she posted airport selfies with my brother. A week after that, she sold her house to wipe out his $620,000 debt. If you've lived anything like this, share your experience in the comments. At 5:47 p.m., the partners finally let me breathe. The meeting ended, people scattered, and my name stayed on the whiteboard under a new title, Litigation Manager. Not acting, not interim, just mine. Monica Rivera stuck her head into my doorway, eyebrows up. "So we're drinking tonight, right?" "Just one," I said, already texting the restaurant to confirm our reservation. Before anyone could rope me into another file, I stepped into the hallway and called my mom. She picked up on the second ring, sounding like she'd been waiting. "Mom, we're doing dinner at 7. It's nothing fancy. I just want you there." "I can't," Linda Holt said. "I'm sick." The word landed flat, like she'd rehearsed it. "I already booked the table," I said. "You don't have to do anything. Just sit." "Florence," she cut in, voice thin, "don't make a big deal out of this." "Okay," I said, because that's what I always said when she decided something was over. In the elevator, the glass doors reflected my grin for half a second before it faded. A promotion doesn't erase a lifetime of being the dependable one. At the restaurant near the Loop, my team did what teams do when they're relieved their boss didn't quit. Glasses clinked. Someone ordered a cake that said "congrats" in frosting that looked like it came from a printer. My supervisor gave a quick speech about leadership and trust. Every few minutes, my phone came out. No missed calls, no replies. Just the last text from Mom. "Too sick. Sorry." Timestamp, 6:12 p.m. "Everything good?" Monica asked, sliding a plate toward me. "Yeah," I said. "Family stuff." She nodded like she'd heard that exact phrase from every lawyer who ever tried to pretend they weren't bleeding. The night wrapped up. Hugs, jokes, the usual promises to do this again soon that nobody schedules. Walking back to my building, the Chicago wind slapped my cheeks awake. In my lobby, I opened Instagram without thinking. The first post was my mother, smiling too hard, suitcase behind her. Derek Holt stood next to her in a hoodie, grinning like he'd won something. Location tag, O'Hare International Airport, Gate B. Timestamp, 6:05 p.m. I stared at it until my thumb went numb. "Yeah," I muttered, unlocking my apartment door. "Sick enough to need a boarding pass." The second photo showed Derek holding a thin manila envelope, the kind that comes from an office that charges by the signature. A baggage tag dangled from his wrist like a trophy. I called Mom again, straight to voicemail. Tried once more. This time it rang, then clicked off. A buzz hit my screen. "Don't make this messy," Derek texted. My throat tightened, but my hands stayed steady. Another buzz, an email notification I didn't recognize. Sender, Naperville Title and Closing. Subject, property signing confirmation. Linda Holt, Monday, 10 a.m. Secondary contact, Florence Pugh. The lobby lights hummed while the email loaded, line by line, and my stomach dropped. That Naperville message followed me up to my apartment and onto my kitchen counter while coffee brewed. By 6:30 a.m., my family group chat was already buzzing. "Mom's fine," Linda typed. "I was tired. Stop reading into things." Derek followed with a thumbs up. "See, you always make it a bigger deal." No one mentioned Gate B at O'Hare. No one mentioned the title office email with my name attached. The story they chose was simple. Derek was helping, and I was being difficult. My screen still showed Mom's text at 6:12 and the airport post at 6:05. The numbers didn't argue. They just sat there. I saved both, then saved them again, because apparently that was my coping skill. Coffee sat cold beside the phone. On the train ride downtown, Derek's message from the night before stared back. "Don't make this messy." It was impressive, in a bleak way, how he could sound like a mediator while tightening a rope. At my desk, Monica handed me a legal pad. "Write down every time and date," she said. "People forget. Screenshots don't." Downtown, work moved like nothing happened. I walked into the Loop office, dropped my bag, and opened a hearing binder. Within 5 minutes, someone from another team leaned in. "Everything okay at home?" he asked. "Yeah," I said, "just scheduling." My supervisor appeared next, already in deadline mode. "Congrats again," he said. "I need that draft motion by end of day." "On it," I told him. The phone rang before the first page loaded. Derek's name lit up the screen like he owned the place. Monica Rivera hovered by my door, watching. She didn't say a word, just tilted her head like, "Go ahead." "Florence," Derek said, calm enough to sell warranties, "you really put Mom through it last night." "How's that?" I asked. "She's stressed because of you," he said. "You know you're intense." "Noted," I said. "You're good at your job," Derek continued. "You can handle things. Mom knows you'll be fine. Not everyone's wired like that." There it was, the compliment that always came with a bill. "Yeah," I said, "I can handle it. Like a safe." "Exactly," he said, sounding relieved. "Only difference is," I added, "everyone keeps assuming the safe comes with its own combination." He went still for a beat. "Don't be like that," Derek said. "This is simple. We're taking care of paperwork." "What paperwork?" I asked. "Adult stuff," he said. "Mom's doing what she needs to do." The call ended without an answer. Monica slid a chair over and nudged my phone toward me. "Don't fight him with feelings," she said. "Fight him with receipts." She started ticking things off on her fingers. "Screenshot your mom's text. Save the timestamps. Download the airport post before it vanishes. Export your call log showing she hung up. Forward that Naperville email to your personal account." My inbox pinged, and Monica scrolled through the confirmation again. "Secondary contact," she read. "They don't add that for fun. Either someone listed you, or there's an authorization tied to your name." My phone buzzed. Linda this time. "Hi," I said. "Florence," my mom began, soft but steady. "I really am not feeling well. You don't get to accuse me of lying." "Then explain the airport photo," I said. She sighed like I'd asked for a receipt at a yard sale. "Your brother needed me," she said. "He's under pressure. You always assume the worst." Derek's voice slid in, clearer than it should have been. She'd put him on speaker. "Hey," he said, friendly now. "It's a signing, just a couple papers. Don't turn it into a trial." "Sunday," Linda said louder. "Come home at 5. We'll talk like adults." "And Monday," Derek added. "Naperville, 10 a.m. Don't be late." Monica watched my face, waiting for action, not debate. After work, traffic crawled west. Derek's address glowed on my dash the whole way. When my turn hit my mom's street, a white for sale sign was already planted in the yard. Cardboard boxes sat stacked by the garage door. My hand tightened around my phone, the Naperville email still open as my feet carried me up the walk. Mom's front door opened before my knuckles hit it. Linda Holt stood there in sweatpants, hair pulled back, looking just healthy enough to be offended. Derek hovered behind her in a hoodie, hands in his pockets, like he'd been assigned to manage the situation. "Hi, Mom," I said. "Come in," she replied, not moving out of the doorway until I stepped around her. The living room looked half-packed. A few framed photos were gone from the wall, leaving pale squares. Boxes were stacked near the hallway like someone had started a game of Tetris and quit. Derek walked ahead and dropped onto the couch, then patted the cushion beside him, as if he was offering a seat in a conference room. "We're just going to talk," he said. Linda led the way to the kitchen table. A neat stack of papers sat at the center, held down by a ceramic mug. Derek's fingers kept finding the edges of the stack, tapping it, straightening it, touching it again. The whole thing had the energy of a staged intervention, where the problem was me asking questions. Linda slid into her chair and folded her hands. "Florence," she began, "you don't get to accuse me of lying." "No one had to accuse you," I said. "You posted it." Derek's mouth tightened like he'd tasted something sour. "That photo doesn't mean what you think it means," he said. "It means you weren't sick," I replied, looking at my mom. Linda's eyes dropped to the papers. Derek leaned forward, voice soft, almost kind. Mom needed a break, he said. She's been under a lot. You were at dinner with coworkers. She was with family. Funny, I said. I thought I was family. Linda looked up, then away, like she was choosing not to hear it. Derek pulled the stack closer and turned it so the top page faced me. The heading was mostly covered by his hand, but enough showed through. HELOC. Authorization. Power of attorney. Words that didn't belong on a kitchen table next to a sugar bowl. What is this? I asked. Paperwork, Derek said. Normal paperwork. My phone came out without ceremony. The screen stayed low near my lap while my thumb hovered over the camera. Linda cleared her throat. Your brother is trying, she said. He's working on things. By selling your house? I asked. Her lips pressed together. I'm just handling it, Linda said. Derek's tone stayed gentle, but his eyes sharpened. Don't blow up the deal, he said. One signature from you makes this easier on Mom. I'm not on the title, I replied. Not the title, Derek said, like I was slow. A consent form, a confirmation, something to show everyone's aligned. Aligned. Like we were a corporate team and my mother was a quarterly report. The phone lens found the corner of the top page. I snapped a photo, then another, angling for the notary stamp. Derek noticed and slid the stack away. Seriously, he said. Yes, I replied. Linda's chair scraped against the tile as she shifted. Why can't you just help? She asked. Derek's voice cut in smoothly, speaking over her. Because she likes control, he said. Florence needs everything to go her way. That one landed where it always did. The dependable daughter becomes the villain the moment she asks for clarity. Tell me the truth, I said to Linda. Are you selling the house? Linda rubbed her forehead. It's complicated, she said. Complicated usually means expensive, I replied. Derek exhaled through his nose, pretending patience. If you mess this up, he said, I'll tell everyone exactly how you treated Mom, how you abandoned her when she needed you. Linda didn't correct him. She just stared at the table like the wood grain had answers. My phone captured the name at the bottom of the page before Derek fully covered it. A title agent's name and a company logo. The notary stamp blurred, but the seal was there. Enough to matter later. I set the phone down beside my keys and looked at the stack. I didn't know paperwork came with an all-inclusive package, I said. Meals, flights, and swallowing your whole life. Derek's jaw flexed. Linda flinched, like she wanted to laugh and cry at the same time, then settled on neither. Derek lifted a separate sheet and read it out loud, crisp as a receptionist. Monday, 10 a.m., Naperville Title Office, he said. Whether you show up or not, Mom is signing. Linda's voice came out small. Florence, please don't make a scene. The next morning, traffic moved like it had a personal grudge. The title office sat in a beige strip mall between a salon and a place that sold custom blinds. The lobby smelled like toner and stale coffee. I walked in fast, phone in hand, photos ready. Derek was already seated beside Linda, legs crossed, arms stretched across the back of her chair like a claim. He looked up, then turned to the receptionist before I could say a word. If my sister causes trouble, he said, please call security. A guard in a navy shirt stood up from the corner and started walking toward me as my screen lit up with the notary stamp photo. Ma'am, you need to step back. I'm not yelling, I said, keeping my phone raised. My name is on their email. I'm listed as a secondary contact. The receptionist glanced at the screen, then at Derek, then at Linda. Ms. Holt is in a private appointment, she said. If you're not a signer, you can wait in the lobby or leave. Derek stayed seated, arms stretched along the back of my mother's chair like he owned her posture. See, he said, this is what happens. Linda wouldn't meet my eyes. A staffer opened the signing room door and waved them through. Derek guided her by the elbow. The door closed and the guard shifted so his shoulder blocked the handle. In the parking lot, I called Mom again. Voicemail. When I tried once more, Derek answered like it was his job. Go home, he said. You're stressing her out. Tell her to call me, I said. She's done talking, Derek replied. She's handling it. What is it? I asked. A few papers, he said. You don't get to sabotage this because you're upset about dinner. The line went dead. Tuesday morning, the loop looked the same, which made the whole thing worse. Monica was already at my doorway with a legal pad. "Did you get into the appointment?" she asked. "No." "Then we work with what we have," she said. She had me forward the Naperville Title Office email to my personal account, download my mom's airport post, and export my call log showing the hang-ups. When she saw the line that listed me as secondary contact, she tapped it with her pen. "They don't add a kid for no reason," Monica said. "Either someone requested it, or there's an authorization tied to your name." A week later, my mom's former neighbor texted a photo without preamble. Closing statement, Linda Holt at the top. The numbers sat in neat columns, like someone had balanced a checkbook with a sledgehammer. One line was highlighted by her shaky finger before she snapped the picture. Debt settlement, $620,000. I called the number on the statement. A woman with a practiced voice confirmed the part that mattered. "Yes, the wire was sent," she said. "That's all I can disclose." That night, Derek started his rounds. He didn't argue with me directly anymore. He recruited an audience. My uncle called first. "Derek says you tried to stop your mother from fixing her mistake," he said. "I tried to understand why she was selling her house," I replied. "You're a lawyer," he said, like it was a diagnosis. "You always think you're right." My mom finally rang after 10. Her voice sounded calm, almost administrative. "Your brother made mistakes," she said. "I'm taking care of it." "You sold the house," I answered. "I did what I had to," she said. And then she delivered the sentence she'd been saving for years. "You're not as stable as your brother." It wasn't shouted. That was the problem. It came out as a fact, like the weather. By Thursday, Derek's version reached my workplace. My supervisor asked me into his office and slid a printed email across the desk. Same sender, Naperville Title and Closing. Same line, secondary contact, Florence Pugh. "We received a complaint," he said. "It alleges you're involved in a family real estate transaction connected to a debt." "My name was outed without my consent," I said. "We'll need to review," he replied. "Until then, be careful about any external communications." Monica waited outside his door. Once he walked away, she spoke low and fast. "They pulled you in so you'd be their shield," she said. "The more you explain, the easier you are to twist." "What do I do?" I asked. "You separate on paper," Monica said. "You keep every record. You protect your license." That afternoon, HR requested a meeting to address concerns. A woman in a blazer placed a form on the table. "Internal review request," she said. "We need your company phone now." My hand moved toward the device, but the personal phone stayed gripped tight, and I didn't let go yet. Elaine from HR waited while the company phone sat between us like it had a pulse. Across the table, our general counsel, Rita Hanley, flipped through the internal review packet with the kind of patience that comes from seeing other people's messes for a living. "We're not accusing you of anything," Elaine said. "We're documenting concerns." Rita tapped a single line with her pen. "Your name appears on a closing confirmation as a secondary contact. Do you have a role in that transaction?" "No," I said, "not voluntarily." "And your relationship to the parties?" Rita asked. "My mother is Linda Holt," I answered. "My brother is Derek Holt." Elaine's expression shifted, like she'd expected a distant cousin, not a direct hit. Rita kept her voice even. "How did your name get on the email?" "It showed up that way," I said, "and then Derek used it like a weapon." Elaine glanced down at her notes. "The complaint alleges you tried to interfere with a property signing related to a debt." "I tried to ask why my mother was selling her house," I said. "I got removed from the office for showing up." Rita studied me for a second, then looked at the phone. "We need your firm device while we review communications." My hand hovered over it, then stopped. The reflex was familiar. Absorb the discomfort, smooth things over, keep everyone comfortable. That habit had worked great for years, right up until someone decided my name could be attached to whatever they needed. The fear wasn't my family being mad. They'd been mad before. The fear was losing the only thing I'd built that didn't belong to them, my license, my job, the credibility that kept me employed and safe. Derek didn't have to beat me in court. He just had to make me look involved. Rita's tone tightened, still polite. "Florence, did you sign anything? Provide advice? Speak to the title office as counsel?" "No," I said. "I told them to call my mother. They refused." Elaine slid a second form across the table. "This acknowledges you're not representing any family members in this matter." The pen felt heavier than it should have. Signing meant accepting what everyone would say next. It meant letting my mother tell people I'd abandoned her. It meant hearing Derek call me cold, dramatic, ungrateful, words he used the way some people use duct tape. The door opened a few inches, and Monica slipped in without waiting to be invited. She didn't sit. She set a sealed envelope on the table and looked at Rita. "I'm not part of this review," Monica said, "but she needs this on record." Rita's eyes narrowed slightly. "What is it?" Monica nodded toward me. "It's support for why her name appeared on that closing email." Elaine frowned. "Monica, we can't accept—" Rita held up a hand. "Let's see it." The envelope tore open with a dry rip. Inside were 3 things, stacked neatly like someone had been waiting for the right moment. Rita read the first page. Title agent. Notary log reference. File number. Monica spoke without looking at anyone. "I kept it since the airport post. Something didn't line up." Rita moved to the next page, an email printout with header details that didn't look like anything a regular person would notice. "This shows a request to add a secondary contact," she said, "and the request didn't originate from your firm." My throat tightened, but my voice stayed steady. "Derek did it." Rita flipped to the last sheet. Her eyebrows lifted a fraction. "Wire confirmation," she said. "Recipient account matches a company name associated with your brother." Elaine swallowed. "So the debt is real." "It's worse than real," Monica said. "It's documented." Rita closed the packet, then looked directly at me. "You understand why we have to treat this carefully." "I do," I said. "That's why I'm done explaining it to my family." Elaine reached for the company phone again. "Please hand it over." The device slid across the table. Then my personal phone came out too, slower, deliberate. Elaine's eyes widened. "You don't have to give us that," she said. "I want it logged," I replied. "My call history shows hang-ups. My screenshots show timestamps. If my name gets dragged again, I need the trail clean." Rita nodded once. "That's a professional choice." The separation form waited under my pen. The signature went down in one motion. Rita stood and gathered the envelope contents. "Come with me." Her office door shut behind us. My hand set the evidence on her desk before the chair even scraped the floor. "I need to open an official file, right now," I said, as her fingers reached for the folder tab. The conference room on the 32nd floor was packed and already arguing about numbers. My name sat on the agenda beside a new line. Executive Litigation Lead. Rita Hanley cleared her throat. "Florence, effective today, you'll oversee the commercial docket and report directly to the managing committee." A couple of partners nodded. Monica Rivera sat along the wall with her laptop, unreadable. "Understood," I said. Rita slid a folder toward me labeled Committee Materials. A partner to my left murmured "Congratulations" and asked if I could take over a new fraud case on top of everything else. I said yes, because saying no still felt like a foreign language. By the time the meeting adjourned, my calendar had 3 new standing calls. I walked out with my badge heavier than metal. The discussion kept rolling. My phone buzzed again and again. Linda Holt. I let it ring out twice before stepping into the hallway. "Hi, Mom." "You busy?" she asked. "In a meeting," I said. "What's going on?" "It's nothing," Linda replied. "Your aunt asked about you. I told her you're doing well." "Okay." She hesitated, then delivered it like a favor. "You're very capable," she said. "You always have been. It's just, Derek's more stable." "Noted," I said. "He's trying," she rushed on. "He's got people counting on him. He needs family around him." "I'll call later," I said, and ended it. Back at my desk, a courier box waited on my chair. The label came from the bankruptcy court's service vendor. Inside was a thick packet, Derek Holt's company listed as the debtor, plus a civil complaint for fraud, conversion, and misrepresentation. The plaintiffs weren't banks. They were small investors and customers. Monica stepped in behind me. "That showed up fast," she said. "It's been building," I replied, flipping to the exhibits list. "It's just public now." Exhibit 12 stopped me cold. Settlement wire confirmation, $620,000. Exhibit 14, promotional materials using family references. Exhibit 18, email chain with title office. I opened the old airport post I'd saved years ago and compared the date to the filings. The sick day matched. Derek hadn't dragged Mom to O'Hare for a getaway. He'd brought her along to look harmless in front of people with money. A smiling mother. A clean suburban story. A human warranty. The title office email wasn't an accident either. In the exhibit chain, my name appeared as secondary contact more than once, followed by Derek writing, "My sister is counsel. She'll keep us compliant." He'd been planting that flag so if the deal blew up, my career could take shrapnel with his. I called the title agent tied to the file number from Naperville. The receptionist transferred me. Then the line dropped into voicemail. 10 minutes later, an email arrived from an attorney. "Ms. Pugh, my client will not be speaking with you. She does not recall the specifics of that transaction." Monica read it over my shoulder. "So she remembers how to hire counsel," she said. Rita's assistant forwarded another message while we were still staring at the first. Defense firm letterhead. Derek's company name in bold. "Cease and desist," Monica read. "They're accusing you of harassing witnesses and threatening defamation if you contact anyone associated with the closing." "And they copied my firm," I said. One of the screenshots I needed most lived on my old firm phone, still locked in retention from the internal review. Accessible, technically, but only through compliance channels that moved at their own pace. At 4:18 p.m., my personal phone rang again. A process server's number flashed, then disappeared, leaving a voicemail icon. Before I could play it, Linda called, breathless. "They came to the house," she said. "They handed me papers. Neighbors saw. Florence, you have to help me." "What papers?" I asked. "A lawsuit," she said, voice cracking. "They said Derek committed fraud. They're saying our family, our name." "Mom," I cut in, "where's Derek?" "He's not answering," she said. "Please, save our dignity." The complaint packet pressed against my palm as I walked toward the legal strategy room. The assistant at the desk looked up. "Get Monica Rivera," I said, "now," and pushed the door open without slowing. Monica arrived before the door finished swinging shut. She took one look at the packet in my hand and the way the assistant hovered nearby, then pulled a chair to the table like this was Tuesday. "Talk," she said. "Their counsel sent a cease and desist," I replied. "They copied the firm." Monica skimmed the letter and snorted once, not amused. "They're trying to scare you into silence." Rita joined us with 2 associates and a case intake sheet. "Your mother was served," she said. "She called you. What did she ask for?" "To save the family name," I answered. "Not Derek, the name." Rita's pen paused. "That's not a legal objective." "It is to her," Monica said. The plan took shape fast. Derek was already being sued. The plaintiffs needed structure, evidence, and a lawyer who wouldn't blink when the defense tried to turn it into a family misunderstanding. I didn't blink. That evening, my mother showed up at my apartment with swollen eyes and a purse clutched to her chest like armor. She didn't sit until I pointed to the chair. Linda spoke first. "I don't need to win," she said. "I just need people to stop looking at our family like we're criminals." I set a glass of water in front of her and slid a box of tissues beside it. "I can help," I said, "but I can't cover it up." Her mouth tightened. "You're a lawyer," she said. "You can do anything." "No," I replied. "I can do specific things in specific rooms with specific rules." She leaned forward, voice dropping. "Florence, he's your brother." "And those plaintiffs were his customers," I said. He did that, not me. Linda stared at the table edge, then tried again, softer. Just make it go away. Going away is how it got this big, I said. Her phone rang. She answered on the second buzz. Derek's voice blasted through the speaker, angry and high.
Did you go to her? He snapped. Are you crying to her now?
Linda fumbled to lower the volume. I reached over and tapped speaker on, then held the phone steady between us. Hi, Derek, I said. You're really doing this? He barked. You're going to smear our own family? You already did, I replied, keeping my voice level. I'm just turning the lights on. A short silence, then he went colder. You're not allowed to talk to my people. Your people hired lawyers, I said. So did I. He laughed once, sharp. You think you're better than me because you wear suits. No, I said. I think I'm better at reading emails. The call ended with a click that felt practiced. 2 days later, I filed a notice of appearance on the plaintiff's side. Monica watched me sign and slide the paperwork across the intake desk downtown. Your mother's going to hate this, she said. She already hates it, I answered. At least this way, it's clean. At the first hearing, Derek walked in late and loud, like the courtroom was a customer service desk. His attorney spoke first and called the claims exaggerated. Derek sat behind counsel, shaking his head at the plaintiffs like they were inconveniencing him. When it was my turn, the binder opened and stayed open. Exhibit 1, I said, handing up the wire confirmations. $620,000, labeled debt settlement. Defense counsel stood. Foundation, relevance. This is a private family transaction. I nodded once and slid the next document forward. Exhibit 2, I said, email metadata showing who requested the secondary contact on the closing confirmation. Defense counsel's face didn't change, but his voice tightened. These headers can be manipulated. Derek leaned toward his lawyer and whispered, still visible, still smug. I waited until the judge looked back at me, then placed the next sheet on top, like a lid. Exhibit 3, I said, subpoenaed notary log and signature comparison from the title agent, tied to file number NP 44719. Defense counsel opened his mouth, then shut it again. The judge looked over the page, then at the defense table. You'll produce the device records referenced here, she said, and the witness will appear under oath. Derek stood up so fast his chair scraped. This is insane, he snapped. She's my sister. The judge didn't look impressed. Sit down, Mr. Holt. He didn't. A court officer stepped into the aisle with another envelope. Mr. Derek Holt, the officer asked. Derek turned like he might bolt. The officer extended the papers anyway. As Derek grabbed them, his attorney reached for his sleeve, whispering hard. My hands kept moving, stacking exhibits back into the binder, snapping the clips shut one by one, while Derek glared across the room and the officer shifted to block the aisle. The judge reviews the last exhibit, then signs without looking up. Temporary freeze, she says. Discovery proceeds. Mr. Holt will comply. Derek's attorney grabs his elbow, trying to steer him back into his seat. Derek jerks away and ends up standing beside the court officer, papers shaking in his fist. Tell her to stop, he snaps at me. The officer steps between us. Sir, you need to move, he says. Derek glances at the doors, then at his lawyer, and swallows hard as the clerk calls the next case. His mother's house money is gone, and his options shrink fast. Outside, the hallway fills with people Derek used to ignore on emails. 2 older couples hold folders like life rafts. A young man in a work shirt asks the plaintiff's lawyer, "So he has to pay us back?" The lawyer answers, "There's a process. Today was step 1. Derek is pulled into a side nook, cornered by his own counsel. He signs a stipulation with a trembling hand, then signs again when told the first line was missed. Monica watches him and murmurs, "He writes like someone who's never owned a consequence." The victims don't cheer. They just keep breathing. In the parking garage, Derek's lawyer hustles him toward a sedan, whispering terms like, "Numbers can be outrun." Derek keeps looking over his shoulder, searching for an ally. Linda stays back near a pillar, rubbing her wrists as if handcuffs have already been fitted. Monica stops beside me and hands over my car keys, because mine are still on the courtroom table. "Go," she says. "You did what you were supposed to do." Derek catches my eye and opens his mouth. His lawyer pulls him away mid-step, and the garage swallows their argument as I walk toward my car alone. Linda stands near the vending machines, shoulders tucked, as if the wall can hide her name. Her eyes track Derek, then slide away when they catch mine. I walk over, stop one step short, and keep my hands at my sides. "Are you happy?" she asks, voice thin. "I'm finished," I say. She blinks, waiting for the softer version. "I needed you at my promotion dinner," I add. "You said you were sick." Linda opens her mouth, then closes it. I let the pause hang and say, "You missed the day I got recognized. Today, I recognized myself." She looks down. She grips her purse strap. "So what now?" Linda asks. "Now you stop asking me to fix Derek's choices," I say. She winces at his name, like it's a slur. "He's your brother." "And I'm your daughter," I reply. Linda tries to step closer. I don't move. "No money," I say, "no signatures, no calls from unknown numbers with family emergency in the subject line." Her face hardens. "You'd leave us like this?" "I won't leave you," I say. "I'll talk through email, one thread, one record." Monica taps my elbow and points toward the exit, reminder to go now. At home, the apartment feels smaller than it did this morning. I drop my court bag by the door and open the drawer where my mother's spare key has lived for years. The metal is warm from my hand, like it's been waiting. An envelope goes on the counter. The key goes into it. The family group chat disappears with one swipe. Derek's contact gets blocked and deleted. On the firm portal, my emergency contact changes to Monica Rivera. The confirmation pops up and I exhale. "Finally," I whisper, "something I can update with a click. No family meeting required." The next day, lunch break becomes an errand. I walk to the blue mailbox on the corner with the envelope flat against my palm. A neighbor passes and nods. I nod back, like this is normal. The return address line stays blank. My name has done enough traveling. The slot catches the envelope, then releases it. For a second, my fingers hover there, half expecting someone to grab it back and tell me I'm overreacting. Nobody does. The lid swings down and shuts with a hard clack as my hand drops to my side and my feet turn toward the street.